The heist of the Iran nuclear archives, and you and your relationship with Yossi Cohen. Let's start with the magnitude of how important that heist was and what we learned from it.
Well, remember at the time there was still this debate about the progress Iran was making on its nuclear weapons program and its fissile material program. There was also debate about how long that had been taking place and whether they were continuing to work on it. And what the documents ultimately revealed was not only a long history, something we'd known about since at least 2000, that had been working on since 2003, but it showed that there was ongoing and continuing efforts to build out their program.
Within weeks, maybe days, President Trump made a decision, which I don't think was decided because of the heist, but it almost gave him a reason to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal. You had been one of the most outspoken critics of the Iran nuclear deal in Congress, and of course, in your role as CIA director and the Secretary of State, you were advocating that to the president, correct?
Of course. Since I was a member of Congress, since Secretary Kerry had begun to negotiate that deal, it was very clear it wasn't going to solve the core problem. Right? The objective was to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, and this agreement didn't do that. We can now see that almost a decade on now, conventional weapons could be moved, their missile program restarted. All of the elements of a full-scale nuclear weapons program, including its delivery components, weren't stopped by that deal. And so I thought it was a mistake for the United States to be a part of it. I was proud to see President Trump make that bold decision in the spring of 2018 to get out of the deal. And I am confident that Israel and America were safer as a result of that decision.
You're good friends, close friends, and as well as working allies over the years with both Prime Minister Netanyahu and Yossi Cohen when he was head of Mossad. That was a gutsy decision, wasn't it? Because there was a high risk factor of sending Mossad and other, whoever else was involved in that operation to steal the nuclear weapons archives right out of the nose of the Iranians in Tehran. Describe how you saw that from your vantage point, your unique vantage point.
Yeah, I can't say much, to be honest with you, as I was the director at the time, other than I think the whole world can see pretty plainly this was intelligence at its finest, intelligence collection at its finest, a deep program determined to do something important, to deliver not just information for the sake of information, but information that Israel needed to have, is information that the United States and the whole world ultimately needed to see. And there was enormous excellence demonstrated by what took place there.
So where is this going, and when does Iran pay a price?
Well, look, the responsibility is to deter. And to get to deterrence, you have to get to the decision maker. And the decision makers don't sit in Gaza, they don't sit in Lebanon, they don't sit in the outskirts of Baghdad, they sit in Tehran. And so it's those people that need to be deterred. It's their decision-making process that has to be altered, impacted, affected. You have to convince them that the cost of mayhem and chaos and terror exceeds the benefits. That's what we worked on in the Trump administration. Our core element was to deny them the capacity. We had them down to less than $5 billion of foreign exchange reserves. They now have, I think I've seen numbers as high as $18 or $20 billion. They are a wealthy nation compared to where they were just 3 years ago. And we can see where that money flows. To the extent we fail to enforce sanctions, to the extent we fail to impose any costs for the terror that they're imposing on the world, I think it emboldens them. It creates in their mind the perception that they can move freely about the world and do the things they want to do. Sure, there's absolutely a risk they'll use this time to continue to accelerate their nuclear program as well.
Given what we saw here, it's a pretty chilling reality of it. How it could be that much worse for Israel and for the United States and the region.
Imagine conducting these hostage negotiations in light of an Iran with a nuclear capability. As difficult as that is today and as necessary as that is today, it would even be more complicated.
Thank you for your support for Israel, love for Israel, both as an American, as a Christian, and as a friend. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Bless you.